Home, home. I will be a better actor than Daniel Day-Lewis and Meryl Streep combined. Alright, that should about do it. You guys ready to record this? What's up, everyone? Paul Castro Jr. here, and now that we're all in this perfect Zen state, it's the perfect time to leave a like and subscribe so that everybody can join us on this amazing wavelength. Have you ever been in the state of mind where it's like time is just seeming to pass you by, or your focus is just so undeniably sharp, it's like you're seeing things before they even happen, or you're doing things you didn't even know you were capable of? Well, many people refer to this as being in the zone, or what I like to call, and many other professionals call, the flow state. It happens a lot with artists or athletes, particularly in writers, where the words are just coming out of them like they didn't even expect it and they're filling the page, or like a running back who's seeing the holes open before the offensive line even snaps the ball. I've been in this flow state, particular in my career as an actor, many times, and I was never able to put my finger on how I got there or the things I did leading up to that allowed me to kind of be in this kind of ultimate perfect state of mind so that I'm performing to the best of my abilities. Well, recently I was working on a video game where I kind of in the moment realized it. I'm like, I'm in the zone, I'm in flow right now. How did I do this? And I started taking mental snapshots of the things that were happening and then retroactively thinking about my day after all was said and done and thinking about what was my day like leading up to that. In this particular instance, I was working with a director who was so amazing to work with on this project that was kind of a really big deal for me, but it was definitely something I felt ready for in my life. And working with this director in this particular moment on this particular line, I took a risk and I had nuance in my performance that I didn't have on every previous line leading up to it. Not to say that those were bad lines, but this line in particular, I was like, wow, when I read it or before we were acting it, I did not expect it to come out the way it did. And it was all kind of a product of all the previous takes before that. The team, the creative team and the director being very pleased with it, being congratulatory, but nothing too excessive, just they seemed to be liking what I was doing. And in this particular line, I was doing things with my performance that were really bold and risky, and it was like fulfilling for me to take that risk and for at the end of it, for the director and the team to go, yes, right on, let's do that again. And for every line going forward from it, for them to want more of that risk and that chance and that danger and that nuance. And then I was doing it for the rest of the session, finding moments where I was able to take a breath that I wouldn't normally take, or go in a higher inflection and go down to a lower inflection, or get really dramatic and intense, or throw comedy in the line where it wasn't necessarily written that way. All of these things made for a really fulfilling experience, and for them, a result or product that they were more than pleased with. This was like, they were like, yes, this is what we were looking for. This is exciting. This is making the project all that more fulfilling. Now, this was the state of flow. Obviously, for me, I had this kind of perfect scenario or setting in which I was working with people who were super accommodating and nice and congratulatory, and they were just as excited about the process as I was. But what were other things that were in place that helped me get to this Zen-like, meditative state where I'm in the state of flow? Well, there's two important things that you need in place to achieve this state of flow. One is it needs to be the right amount of difficulty in the project or thing that you're working on, and you also need the right amount of skill so that you don't feel too anxious or kind of like imposter syndrome with what you're working on. Secondly, I had done my homework. What I recommend to everybody is to make sure that you are prepared before walking into any room, especially if it's something you've never done before. So for me as an actor in particular, know your lines. A lot of people who do voiceover think they don't have to memorize, but constantly read your script, do the script analysis, mark up what you're doing, print out the sides, get it in your hands and know what you are doing. What is your objective? Who is your character? Have you done research on the world that you're in? Is it set in a certain time period, or is there other video games, or is there another animation, a previous season? Can you see the landscape in which you're about to enter? If it's a live action show, can you watch another episode? Are the characters performing in a very comedic, zany way, or is it a dramatic show? The more you know about what you're about to walk into, the more you'll have the freedom to take a risk and be nuanced. And just going back to the memorizing your lines thing, because a lot of voice actors are super against it, or they just don't even think to do it, the more that you can free yourself from the script, the more times I guarantee you will find that you are encouraged to improvise, not only dialogue-wise, but in your performance. Try it. You also want to make sure you're doing everything you can to get your mental state ready before you enter that professional arena. So for me, that means meditating in the morning, making sure I'm clearing my thoughts, ridding myself of the stress and anxiety in the real life so that I can go into my profession worried about the task at hand. Obviously, maybe address those things during your meditation, and sometimes it's hard to get your real life away from your professional work, but the more you can dedicate your absolute focus to the task at hand, the more you'll be able to achieve that flow state. Like I just said, you want to get yourself primed and ready for whatever you're going to do. So you want to make sure that you're releasing chemicals that you can, such as endorphins, whether that be by working out, doing yoga, stretching, getting your heart rate going, making sure that you're entering into a state of mind as well as being, so that way when you're performing, you have already warmed your instrument up. And obviously, I'm not a doctor, and you should always consult your physician before you take any supplements you've never used before, but I've been using CBD oil, and that has been working phenomenally for me to reduce my stress and anxiety, so that when I enter these intimidating scenarios with professionals and executives, that I am not so fearful about what I'm doing, and I can just focus on my art and my performance. Now, obviously, in my circumstance, I'm working in a professional level. I'm working on paid projects, and many of you may not be there. You might be auditioning still or getting prepared to enter into the professional workforce. So what you can start doing now is start working with people who give you feedback, who you trust and feel comfortable with. So in my circumstance, I was working with a director who was giving me great feedback in a call and response. He was even acting with me. Say you're getting ready to start doing a monologue for an audition, or making your demo reel or an on-camera reel, whatever it might be, shoot a short film. You want to make sure you're surrounding yourself with people who are going to give you positive, constructive criticism, so you feel comfortable being vulnerable. Start practicing the way you want to play. So work with a producer on your voiceover demo who has the right mentality for how you need to work. If you need someone to be over congratulatory or to be involved and give you feedback on every line, surround yourself with people who are the right flavor of how you work. If you're working in an audition, make sure you're doing your reads with a scene partner who you feel confident is going to put their best foot forward. They're going to work just as hard on the audition as you are, even though it's for you. Surrounding yourself with the right people and having a great support group is imperative for you to constantly, time after time, be able to enter the state of flow. Another thing that's been so crucial and instrumental into me getting into the state of flow is what I am putting into my body, specifically food. Are you eating the right things so you have the right nutrients and the vitamins and minerals so that you don't crash and burn while in a session? Making sure you're not eating highly carbonated foods or sugary snacks so you don't get indigestion or heartburn or any other things that might take you out of your performance. I obviously eat a plant-based diet, and it's been so helpful for me on so many levels, but it's always made me feel good, and I never have this sense of feeling overly full or feeling groggy or having brain fog. It's been so helpful in making sure that I'm nutritionally balanced and I feel great. I have great digestions. It's just been so instrumental to me as a performer. And if you can figure out a diet for you so you're getting all the proper nutrients and you don't have any moments where you're like, man, what I just ate is having a negative impact on me, that is going to be so crucial for every professional circumstance you walk into. I know it sounds kind of crazy and magical and a little voodoo-like, and it kind of is, but we can all do things to achieve the state of flow. Some of the best actors, their performances that are the most inspirational, they're in that state of flow, like a boxer who's, kind of seeing the next moment, seeing the next bob and weave that they have to do. They're often in a state of flow when they're doing this. For me, it's been so game-changing in my life, and I guarantee you the most inspirational, inspiring, self-fulfilling performances or activities are going to be when you're in the flow state. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope this has been helpful. Once again, like and subscribe so more people can see these videos and we can help more people get into the state of flow. All right, everybody, I will see you all on the next one.